Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, friends. Big news today. What I've decided to do because of several comments that you all have given me and a poll that I held over on Patreon, there was this strong recommendation to switch the last two episodes of the original series. Now, it's not something that I went into lightly. I wanted to see if that was like the general consensus of the Star Trek community, that Turnabout Intruder might not live up to everything as a send-off episode as all our yesterdays. So I went out and I searched the only place that I knew would give me the right answer, and that's all of you. And so after an exhaustive look at everybody, the general consensus on our, like right around 96% of everybody said, yeah, go ahead and do Turnabout Intruder and then all our yesterdays. So friends, I always listen to the community because you all have not guided me wrong yet, and that is what we are doing. So today we are watching Star Trek, the original series, Season 3, Episode 20, let me check, 24, Turnabout Intruder. Friends, nothing to it but to do it. If you could do me a huge favor though before we get started, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. It greatly helps out a small channel and it allows me to alert you next time it's time to board that beauty, the NCC 1701. And of course, if there's anything that we do that you would like early or in its full-length format, the link to our Patreon is in the description. Not a fan of Patreon? Stick with us here on YouTube memberships. You'll get all of our episodes about a day early, plus any bonus episodes we come up with. But my dear friends, all that is then and this is now, and for the second to last time in what will be our penultimate episode, prepare to watch Star Trek, the original series, Season 3, Episode 24, Turnabout Intruder. Prepare to engage maximum warp reaction. And for the second to last time, away we go! Oh, look at that beauty.
The Enterprise has received a distress call from a group of scientists on Camus 2 who are exploring the ruins of a dead civilization.
Camus 2.
Two of the survivors are the expedition surgeon, Dr. Coleman, and the leader of the expedition, Dr. Janice Lester.
Janice Lester.
Exposure to radiation.
What form of radiation was it?
Nothing I've ever encountered.
Oh boy. Well, get in there, Bones.
Janice.
Of course you know Jim.
Tricorder picking up very faint life readings, approximately 700 meters from here. Help will have to be immediate.
Wow.
Perhaps your presence will quiet her.
I mean, she seems pretty quiet.
I hoped I wouldn't see you again.
I don't blame you.
We were together at Starfleet is the only time in my life I was alive.
Wow.
Your world of starship captains doesn't admit women. I loved you. We could have roamed among the stars.
We'd have killed each other.
That's heartbreaking. We could have roamed among the stars. Now, were they together for a year, or they just attended school with this, like, for an overlap year in the academy? Okay. Well, Janice, you're very happy with yourself. And I was just... Oh, and she's going to put herself on there, too. Oh, God, no. Oh, God, I hate body switch shit. Thank God. Thank God you all told me to switch him. Jim's telling us about the Final Frontier. We're in the credit. One of my least favorite things, even as a kid, was the Freaky Friday horse shit, switching bodies. Oh my God, I can't stand body swaps. You all inadvertently, I mean, no, your suggestions were fantastic, but you inadvertently saved me from really ending this show on a bad note. And I can't overstate, there is no hyperbolic way to say I despise body swaps. hate them. They frustrate the shit out of me. Ever since I was a kid, they have frustrated the absolute shit out of me. So, I mean, double thumbs up to the Star Trek community. Thank you all so much. Oh, I'm just going to be over here drinking coffee, everybody. Oh my God, here we go. Herb Wallerstein. Herb, my sympathies are with you.
I already possess your physical strength. Only this, Captain Kirk, is not afraid to kill.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Believe me, it's better to be dead than to live alone in the body of a woman. It's better to be dead.
My God. We are taking several steps back in this episode, everybody. Spock and McCoy should walk in here. Take one look at Jim, and then when he says one line, be like, "You're not Jim Kirk."
Your report.
We were too late, Jim. There's nothing could be done.
Was it radiation as...
Oh, he knows. This asshole knows.
Beaming her up to the Enterprise would be less harmful than waiting.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, you're not in charge anymore, dude.
Prepare to beam the landing party aboard, plus 2 others, one critically ill. Have a medical team standing by to receive the patient. Captain Kirk, out.
Everybody should be like, this is not Jim Kirk. I'm sorry. Spock at least should pick up on this shit immediately.
Dr. Coleman, accompany the patient to the sick bay.
Even the cadence change, Spock would pick up on.
I walked out on her when it became serious.
Well, you must have been very young at the time, Jim.
Youth doesn't excuse everything, Dr. McCoy.
Thank you, Dr. McCoy, who I've never called Dr. McCoy twice in a row.
Very lucky young person to have escaped.
Yes, very lucky. Very lucky.
Now, technically, he's not going to know anybody on the ship. I mean, McCoy and Spock, sure. He could guess, maybe deduce that that's Scotty, who he'll call Mr. Scott. Oh, God, I hate body swap shit. I'm going to try to put my own prejudices aside and call this one fair. We'll see.
You killed every one of the staff. You sent them where you knew the Celebium shielding was weak. Now, why didn't you kill him? You had the perfect opportunity.
I couldn't. You couldn't because you love him.
You want me to be his murderer.
Love him. I love the life he led.
Oh, boy.
I won't become a murderer.
You are a murderer.
You're an accomplice. You helped me murder.
You knew it was Celebium. You could have treated them for it. You're a murderer many times over.
Oh, boy.
Dr. Lester could be suffering from a phaser stun as far as the symptoms I can detect, Jim.
Huh.
If you don't follow my recommendations, responsibility for her health or her death will be yours.
Oh, boy. It's going to be a lot of oh, boys, friends.
To take you off the case and turn it over to Dr. Coleman.
You can't do this. On this ship, my medical authority is final.
Chief Medical Officer.
Dr. Coleman, didn't you suggest a sedation to rest the patient?
Yes, Captain.
It's not necessary, Jim. Can't you see she's coming around?
All she has to do, or Jim through her voice, has to croak out a bones, and we will immediately know what's going on.
A sedative is not wise at this time, Captain.
Nurse Chapel, you have your orders.
Or Christine.
Oh no, bad dream. Bad dream.
I'm going to state it one more time for the Mockingbird here. Thank God you all told me to switch these episodes. I would have been so mad.
Now the years I spent studying every single detail of the ship's operation will be tested. With a little experience, I will be invulnerable to suspicion.
Again, she wouldn't have known the personnel or the specifics or...
At last I attained what is my just due. Command of a starship. All the months of preparation now.
We have everybody but Uhura. Are you kidding me?
Mr. Sulu, set speed at warp factor 2.
Warp factor 2, sir.
Yeah, you can Mr. Chekhov and Mr. Sulu all you want. You sit in that chair the wrong way, or you do anything with the cadence of your voice, Spock's gonna catch wise. Bones is already there. He's already irritated, which is all you need for Bones to be primed.
That will delay our work at Beta Origai. It means reversing course.
Yes, it can't be helped. We must take Dr. Lester to a place where she can be treated.
I point out that Starbase 2 is on the direct route to our destination.
It's 24 hours too long. Dr. Lester's condition is increasingly serious. Continue present course. Aye, sir.
Sir, if the diagnosis of
Snap at Spock.
Starbase 2 is fully equipped and staffed with the necessary specialists to determine exactly what is wrong with the doctor.
But the facilities will be of little use if Dr. Lester's dead. Time is of the essence. Continue present course.
The whole suspension of disbelief here is you're basically neutering Spock that he doesn't figure this out.
At maximum speed, Starbase 2 would still meet the emergency.
Ruh-roh, it's called math.
Sir, I believe that Starfleet will have to be notified that our rendezvous with the starship Potemkin will not take place as scheduled.
Ruh-roh?
Since the captain usually deals directly with Starfleet in these matters, I assumed that my suggestions might be deemed interference.
You don't know what you're doing.
I'll let my record speak for me.
Why are you being so defensive? There's no implied criticism of you in my order to remove you from the case.
For God's sakes, he's got an emery board out working on his nails. That's a lot like Jim.
And Dr. Coleman was removed from his post as chief medical officer of his ship for administrative incompetence,
There are no administrative duties required here.
as well as flagrant medical blunders.
Blunders. He's a blunderer.
And certainly not in the Surgeon General's office.
Oh my God, this stuff just, it just grates on my every nerve.
I appreciate the fact that you had a decision to make. I also find myself in that position now, Jim. And I'm asking you to report for an examination.
Right, because I'm going to remove you from command.
You'll never make that chart stick. Any fool can see why you're doing this.
Why?
That the ship's surgeon will require a full examination of any crew member that he has doubts about, including the captain.
This is about, I would expect this to be even quicker for them to figure it out.
Starfleet Command is requesting additional details on the delay.
I'll be right there.
You can see I'm very busy, Bones. It would be great if he walked out and then had to go the other way. Come on, Jim. For God's sakes. A Christine, a Bones, all of that stuff will do wonders here to take care of this.
Bring Mr. Spock and Dr. McCoy to me at once. Now, they must believe I am not Janice Lester. I am not Janice Lester.
She is suffering from the delusion of being Captain Kirk.
Come on now.
The paranoia has been developing for the past 6 months. The radiation seems to have intensified it. She must be kept sedated.
Christine, remember we were down in those caves? And what our little girl's made of? Remember all that? I had that big dick-looking rock. Remember that thing? That's all it takes. That's all it takes. That's why it drives me nuts. And the premise also being that, someone like Dr. Lester would be driven mad with ambition and jealousy and like love for Jim. That's a bridge too far for me.
Is a visit by that very kind Mr. Spock to be allowed?
Perhaps that can be arranged before we reach the Benicia colony.
The Benicia colony, but isn't the Enterprise going to rendezvous with the Potemkin at Beta Origot?
Christine, how the fuck would she know that?
Oh, it is good, thank you.
This is not Merlot, it's blood.
Could I finish it slowly, Nurse Chapel? Well, I promise I'll be good.
I'm gonna nurse this shit, Christine, you mind? It's been a day.
I'm glad you're feeling so much better.
Thanks, I'm gonna break this glass and jam it in Coleman's neck when he comes through the door. There we go. There we go, Jim.
Are you sure that the captain will comply with your order in his present state of mind?
I'll use my medical authority to enforce it if necessary.
Right, because that's gonna work.
Doctor, we are treading on very thin ground. Actions such as these might be misinterpreted.
Well, then, so be it.
Bones doesn't give a shit about that.
Spock, Bones, help me. Don't let them lock me away from you. I've got to talk to you.
Bones, she said Bones.
Jim!
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Absolutely no one is to talk to her without my permission.
Yes, sir.
That's right, Plum almost threw down right there.
Captain.
I would have. That would have made the episode for me if Plum had taken a swing. Oh my God. Woo!
She regained consciousness very quickly.
Good. I have a few questions to ask her.
Hey, there's our guy again.
The captain said that no one is allowed to speak to Dr. Lester.
Has such an order ever included his senior officers?
There we go.
Mr. Spock, I think the captain meant that a guard should be present.
By all means, Lieutenant.
Yeah, come on in, man. I've always liked that kid, too. Built like a brick shit house. He looks like somebody that would be in security. Just a big dude.
Captain.
How am I otherwise?
Bill.
The Robiano dermal optic is crucial. It reveals the basic emotional structure. You had one once before. There should be no change in your dermal optic reactions to the color wavelengths.
Unless, of course, you're somebody completely different.
To my knowledge, such total transfer has never been accomplished with complete success anywhere in the galaxy. As yet, it is unsubstantiated by any external evidence or objective tests.
Ask me a question, Spock. There's such an easy solution. Like, Spock wouldn't think, what happened last week, Jim?
When I was caught in the interspace of the Tholian sector, you risked your life and the Enterprise to get me back.
There we go.
When the Vians of Minara demanded that we let Bones die, we didn't permit it.
That is true. The captain did not. However, those events have been recorded.
Then ask her something only Jim knows.
You are closer to the captain than anyone in the universe.
Oh.
What does your telepathic mind tell you now?
There we go. Mind meld, everybody. Why didn't I think of that? Oh, Christ, I'm so spun up by this stupid mind swap. Or brains, whatever that is. He should be like, and that's Jim. The takeaway from this episode is Jim in that body saying you're closer to the captain than anybody in the universe. That's my takeaway from this.
I'm sorry, sir, but Dr. Lester cannot leave you.
Well, I'm going to pinch you now.
I follow orders.
Certainly, Lieutenant. We all must do our duty.
And the pinch.
Security guard!
Oh, he was ready for it.
Quite all right, Ensign. Everything's under control.
It certainly is now.
Attention all personnel.
Okay.
He has conspired with Dr. Lester to take over the ship from your captain.
Bones.
Of a general court-martial on the charge
Of mutiny.
of mutiny.
Oh, for God's sakes. Oh my God. This is why, friends, body swapping is so annoying.
Your evidence is completely subjective. We have to have evidence that we can examine out in the open.
Scotty the solicitor.
My authority has been given to me by Starfleet Command, and only that high authority can take it away.
The witness, sir. Bring on the witness.
Bring on the witness.
You were deeply concerned about my health, emotional and physical, since leaving Camus 2. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. And instead of trying to destroy me, you were searching.
Oh boy, it's conspire. This is a conspiracy and then, huh?
The captain is in the best of physical condition. His emotional and mental state is comparable to the time that he assumed command of the Enterprise.
I am disappointed and deeply concerned that there is no objective evidence to support my position. So far.
So far. We didn't ask for Coleman. Get him the fuck out of here.
We certainly appreciate you being here. Everyone is deeply aware that you have been subjected to inordinate emotional stress.
Uh-huh.
It's his opinion that your testimony is important in determining the merits of his case.
Come on, Jim. Let's do some of that. Let's do some of that poker shit.
Try not to upset you.
Oh, you won't upset me. I hope I don't upset you.
However, as I understand it, I am Dr. Janice Lester.
I hate this shit.
Violence by the lady perpetrated on Captain Kirk. I ask the assembled personnel to look.
Woo! Woo!
To attain a position she doesn't merit by temperament or training. And most of all, she wanted to murder James Kirk.
Is the story of life entity transfer believable? This crew has been to many places in the galaxy. They've been witness to many strange events.
We've seen some weird shit, guys.
And with the truth revealed that I am not really the captain, and knowing that you would not be allowed to serve as the captain, then you would be the captain. It is inevitable.
Yeah, that seems a lot like Jim, everybody. We should believe these words.
Return to the Enterprise family. All charges will be dropped, and the madness that temporarily overcame all of us on Camus 2 will fade and be forgotten.
You have ruthlessly appropriated his body, but the life entity within you is not that of Captain Kirk. You do not belong in charge of the Enterprise, and I shall do everything in my power against you.
There we go, Spock.
You do not belong in charge of the Enterprise, and I shall do everything in my power against you.
You heard the statements placed into the record by you. Do you understand the nature of it?
I do.
Yeah.
Deliberate, vindictive, insane at its base. But mutiny is charged and encouragement of mutiny. Dr. McCoy, Mr. Scott, you heard it?
Wow.
A recess has been declared. There'll be no cross discussion. When I return, we will vote on the charge of mutiny. The evidence presented here is the only basis of your decision.
Well, that as soon as Jim left, everybody in that room should have been like, okay, so that's obviously not Jim. See, situations like this presuppose that the entire crew needs to act like morons. And I can't stand that. It reduces our crew. It reduces this incredible crew. I hate it.
But if Mr. Spock thinks it happens, then it must be logical.
Don't you think I know that? My tests show there's nothing wrong with the captain. Now, that's the only fact Starfleet's going to be interested in.
For once, Bones, stop being a fucking contrarian, man.
Suppose you vote with me in favor of Spock. That means 2 votes to 1, and Spock is free. What do you think the captain will do?
Vote that way and find out. If you have any questions, of course, Plum. I mean...
You know all right.
That's right, Scotty. Come on.
That's the time we move against him. We'll have to take over the ship.
We're talking about mutiny, Scotty.
No, you're talking about recovering the ship.
Are you ready for the vote?
Plum, you've been ready for a verbal fight every second I've ever known you.
Play the tapes of the conversation in the corridor.
Aye, sir.
Get the fuck out of here, man. None of that's admissible. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh my God. Least favorite episode of Star Trek, right here.
Enough to convict you of conspiracy with mutineers. And you're so charged. The sentence, death.
What the fuck is oh my God.
The death penalty is forbidden. There's only one exception.
General Order 4. It has not been violated by any officer on the Enterprise.
I am responsible.
Oh my God. And we've Sulu and Chekhov diminished.
Gone!
All these crew members diminished. Remember that capable crew that flew on the NCC 1701? Yeah, they didn't make it to Turnabout Intruder.
Are we going to allow an execution to take place? If security backs him up, how will we fight him?
I'll fight them every way and any way I can.
Oh, come on, Sulu, let's do this shit.
Plot coordinates for orbit. Mr. Sulu, lock into coordinates as soon as orbit is accomplished. Interment will take place on Benicia.
No, sir. That's it. Come on, guys. This goofy shit. Oh, boy. There's the meme. I've never seen the captain piss and shit himself. Something happened. He released his bowels.
The only way to prevent the transference is by the death of Janice Lester. You must carry out the execution.
I can't.
I have done everything else for you. But I will not murder for you.
Then do it for yourself.
Oh, Coleman rediscovered his morals? Okay.
If Kirk doesn't die, we'll both be exposed as murderers. Does that give you any choice?
What about the hand on your shoulder and the creepy whispering? Is that doing it for you? Oh my God. And here in the home stretch, the alternative factor wins. Comes in second to last. Looks like a big pile of shit inside that, whatever that is.
To prevent any further conspiracy, you'll be removed to separate cells.
We're going to murder you all now.
May
Now,
I
guys.
point out, Captain,
Now, the fucking thing's down. Go, go. Dear God.
I lost you, James Kirk! I want you dead! I want you dead! I want you dead! Never kill him.
Starfleet must have better screening procedures. Like, we need to vet people a little bit better.
Can you do anything for her?
I'd like to take care of her.
Sure. You guys murdered everybody, but, you know, a happily ever after sounds good.
I didn't want to destroy her.
I'm sure we all understand that, Captain.
Her life could have been as rich as anyone's. If only...
Whew.
If only...
Well, at least we get that beauty. Oh boy. Oh boy, we got some things, friends. We got some things. I don't want to take my blood pressure right now. All right, everybody, we just finished watching Star Trek, the original series, Season 3, Episode 24, Turnabout Intruder. And boy, oh boy, are we going to talk about it. All right, everybody, we just finished watching Turnabout Intruder, the 24th episode of the third and final season of Star Trek, the original series. Now, first and foremost, I would like to give a mighty, and I mean a mighty, mighty thanks to everybody that came forward and said, you might want to switch those last two episodes. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I am not... I cannot stress. Okay, so first off, let's take my shit out of this. I don't like body swap stuff. I don't like it because of situations like this. You swap bodies and one person is convincing the other person that, you know, they're the real person. And for some way, somehow, questions aren't asked. You know, facts aren't kind of revealed to immediately discredit this. That's my big problem with just body swap shit in general. So understand that I definitely have a prejudice against this type of story. You know, I am not trying to like shadow that or veil that at all, obviously, since I bitched about it the entire episode. But that's the reason why. I think what it does is when you have a body swap type of situation, when it's two distinct individuals, like now I'm thinking like with the movie Big, where Tom Hanks goes from being a kid into an adult, that's a different such scenario for me because there isn't somebody that's desperately trying to convey that they're not the person whose body they inhabit. That's the stuff that really irritates me. So, you know, like that type of transference, I somehow my mind is okay with that. I think what it is the inability to immediately differentiate between the two people. There is no doubt in my mind that when Spock, and I could say that Spock first, but then Bones quickly to follow, and Scotty and everybody else. Spock should have walked into that room down there, and as soon as Jim gave like two lines or did something off, Spock should have immediately eyebrowed. Maybe they make it back up to the Enterprise before Spock goes, "You are not Jim Kirk." You know, because it diminishes the character of Spock because he didn't do it. And I don't think that that is an exaggeration to say something like that, because look how weak all of our characters, all of our incredible crew seem to be in this situation. You know, yes, did Spock stand up? Yes, but the wrong questions were asked. You know, all of a sudden Bones' psychological test comes back okay. First off, how the fuck did that thing pass correctly? Because she is obviously suffering from some type of mental illness. And somehow she was able, because she was looking through the eyes of Jim Kirk, that her mental state was not affected by the mental acuity test that she was being given. The personality and emotional components of it registered the same as Jim. What? That is a convenient little, you know, because immediately, and then if they gave those tests that are supposed to show these things, Bones would have went, "You're not Jim." And then all of a sudden, we have a 27-minute long episode. I think that's what it is. It was like to make this thing flesh out the entire time from tip to tail, our crew had to look like schmucks. And I fucking hate that. This is the crew of the NCC 1701. They don't do shit like this. They don't fuck up, you know, and if they do, it's because the situation is ridiculously difficult. You know, and again, this crew is the best of the best. And not because I love them, which I do, because they are on the flagship of the fucking Federation. They should know immediately what's going on. And nobody could just read up on Jim and read up on the Enterprise and figure out all this shit to even make it work for fucking 30 seconds, let alone, you know, better part of, I don't know, it's a day or however fucking long it was. Friends, it's just so irritating. And again, they did nothing to try to do like a different take on it or, you know, to make it special. I have a ton of problems with this episode. Obviously, the body swap stuff is because it just makes our characters. Thank Christ, you all told me to switch this. I would have been devastated if this was my last episode. And that is not an exaggeration. I would have been so mad. I'd have been so upset. I would have been like legitimately heartbroken if this had been my last episode. I don't even want to think about it. It makes me sweaty to like even think about it. It's so gross. But I mean, oh my God, I would have left on such a down note. I would have left with such a, oh Jesus, you know, just a defeated, you know, situation. I mean, it's bad enough that this is now going to be my second to last episode because, I mean, this is it. Definitively stated. I can't believe I'm doing this. Definitively stated, the alternative factor is officially off the hook. Turnabout Intruder is my least favorite Star Trek, the original series episode, and it ain't close. I hate to say that. And I know somebody out there probably really likes Turnabout Intruder. And if you do, please know it's my shit. Please know the body swap stuff just drives me batty. You know, it just drives me because of reasons like this. So I do not want to yuck your yum. I absolutely, please, I do apologize. If somebody out there is like, yeah, you know what, dude, fuck you. I love Turnabout Intruder. You know what, man? If you do, please put down in the comments what you liked about it, because I'm going to end with the thing that I liked, the one takeaway, the one thing that almost made me go, you know what, maybe alternative factor still is the worst. No, it's not. That was about halfway through the episode. There's one thing that happened in this episode, and you all know what it's going to be, but that's what we'll talk about at the end here to at least leave on a good note before we go talk to Trelane. Hold on one sec. And I'm already fired up, friends, but I'm going to say this briefly. The character of Dr. Lester was whoever her name was, Giannis. Yeah, Dr. Lester. For all of the steps forward that we had taken with like equality, I mean, we just threw him right back. And that's all I'm going to say about it. That character and the approach of that character and how that character was written. I'm not saying that the actress was bad. I thought she was very good. I'm saying that the coming with that approach at the end of a series that has excelled in pushing the envelope for equality of the day. What a stumble. What an absolute stumble at the very end of this series. Ugh. Let's move on. Okay. My rant's over, sort of. I'm still irritated. What did I like about this? Well, the one thing I did like about this very much was when Spock finally caught wise, it was Spock's way of basically saying, fuck you, you are not winning, I am not retracting anything, that's my friend Jim, that's my fucking brother, I would rather die than see this continue. Love that. The other thing I loved was when, as Dr. Lester, Jim said, you know, there's no one closer to me, closer to the captain in the galaxy than you. And that is, taking away those nuggets, I absolutely loved. Those two showed the love of Spock for Kirk and Kirk for Spock. I mean, I think about what Edith Keeler said, you know, you look like you should be by his side. And you always have been. And I love that. I love that they have each other's backs, that they are fucking shoulder to shoulder, man. Those two guys, I love them. I love Jim and Spock. And, you know, I mean, hey, I love Plum too. I love everybody else. But those two need to be always inseparable. And again, I'm already dreading watching Wrath of Khan with this context. But, you know, oh, friends, I mean, I want to say that there's really no reason to learn any more about this episode, but we have to. We have to figure out exactly what went into the making of this turd. So I want to be able to ask the only, and again, I'm so sorry if you like this, you know, it's me. I'm spun up right now, so I'm just going to lash out with just insults. So that's me. But, boy, thank God. Thank God you all said to switch this. Friends, there's more to learn about this episode, and I'm sure we're going to find out all we can from our wonderful entity who, thank God, he has another shot to end on another note than this one, friends. So with all of our gusto and all of our full chest, allow me to call for General. Greetings and salutations, my friends. 'Tis I, leader of men, lover of women, and best friend to Jim Kirk, General Trelane. Retired. Friends, this is where, after having watched and reacted to an original series episode of Star Trek, I like to dig a little bit deeper and find out what went on behind the cameras. Items that, had I looked up beforehand, would have ruined the episode for me. But to keep myself on the straight and narrow and not off into the weeds for 3 hours, I've given myself 5 categories to explore. The first of which, writer and director. Who were they? The second, guest stars. Did we have any? The third, of the core cast or the Big 8, who was present? The fourth and juiciest of the categories, the production notes. What went on behind the cameras? And last but not least, category 5, a memorable quote from this episode. Let's get started. All right, my friends, and for our very first category, writer and director, who were they? Well, we have 2 writing credits for this episode. The teleplay was by Arthur Singer, and the story by none other than Gene Roddenberry himself. And our director for this episode was Herb Wallerstein. The last time we saw Herb was in That Which Survives. I am for you, Herb Wallerstein. Let's move on. And now, friends, for our second category, guest stars, did we have any? Well, yes, we did. We had 2 for our second category. We had Sandra Smith as Dr. Janice Lester and Jim Kirk, and we had Harry Landers as Dr. Coleman. More on that down in production notes. Let's move on. And now, my friends, for our third category of the core cast or the Big 8, who was present? Well, once again, who are our Big 8? Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Sulu, Scotty, Uhura, and Chekhov and Chapel. Unfortunately, and as we have mentioned before, Nichelle Nichols has wrapped for the series, so Uhura is not present. Let's move on. And now, friends, for our fourth category, the production notes, and the spiciest of all of our categories. What went on behind the cameras? Because we know in Season 3, it's touch and go for what goes on behind the cameras. Let's get started. All right, friends, and for our very first production note, we're going to do a callback all the way to The Cage, because I think the timing for this one, the aired last episode of Star Trek, the original series, is an interesting bookend with our very first kind of unaired pilot in The Cage. Jeffrey Hunter, who played Captain Christopher Pike, died 1 week before the airing of Turnabout Intruder. Let's continue. And now for our second production note, again, hearkening all the way back to The Cage, Leonard Nimoy and Majel Barrett were the only 2 to appear in both The Cage and Turnabout Intruder, with Leonard Nimoy being the only one to appear in every single episode of Star Trek, the original series. Let's move on. And now for our third production note. Now, this one has been broken recently with some of the revamps and additional series that have come out, but for years and years and years, the only other credited actor to have played the role of Jim Kirk was Sandra Smith. Almost all of the anthologies in Star Trek include her credit as also having played the captain of the NCC 1701. Friends, let's move on. And now, friends, for our fourth production note. This is an interesting one because William Shatner was suffering from a severe case of the flu in this episode. So every time they were filming something, you know, his strength and his energy were completely sapped to the point where when he had to carry the Dr. Janice Lester, you know, when he was actually Kirk was in the body and he had to pick her up and carry her over, he was struggling to do so. He was incredibly weak, you know, again, anybody that's experienced the flu, I think it shows a lot for William Shatner, probably knowing that we're at the very end of this series, to continue to perform the way that he did, or at least show up to do so, you know? So a tip of the cap, Bill. Let's move on. And now, friends, for our fifth and final production note, this was a very interesting one. While episode 24, Turnabout Intruder, was the last official episode of Star Trek to be aired, there was another one that began production and found out mid-production, the 4th day of the 6-day shoot, that they had been canceled, and so that episode was scrapped. That episode was entitled The Joy Machine, and it was directed by none other than William Shatner, who was going to make his directorial debut with that episode. Now, a couple things happened. They were in the process of actually filming a scene when down from on high came the call that the show had been canceled. Instead of just wrapping up everything and going home, Bill Shatner ordered that the scene be shot. And everyone said that it was done in such a professional manner, you would never have known that it would never be seen. Coincidentally, at the exact same time that this final scene was shot, Gene Roddenberry was walking around giving a tour to an aspiring actor. And whenever he saw that display by Bill Shatner, he said to this aspiring actor, "You have just seen an actor at work." The aspiring actor, none other than professional football player O.J. Simpson. Let's move on. All right, my friends, and for our fifth and final category, a memorable quote from this episode. Well, our shortest memorable quote ever was one word: forget. Friends, this is our second shortest memorable quote, and this one is "if only." The very last words spoken in Star Trek: The Original Series, the very last words were spoken by Captain Kirk. And boy, do they sum up the expectations of what could have been a season 4, a season 5, each of them 1 year of the 5-year mission. But it wasn't meant to be, if only. Thus ends another installment of Q&A, until such time as you and I get to play with our dear friend Jim again. Behave yourselves.